Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python for Beginners series. Today in this video we are going to learn about the functions in Python. So without further ado, let's start. If you don't know what the function is a block of code that is executed whenever the user calls it. So to define the function, you simply have to use the diff keyword and simply give the name of the function. Let me say hello and give the colon, and you should keep in mind about the indentation here also. Okay, so what this function simply does is it simply prints hello world. Okay, so this is a function. Now if you go ahead and run this, you can see it is not printing anything here because we have only defined this function but haven't called it anywhere in our code. So to call it, simply write the function name and give the parenthesis to call it. Okay, now if I run this, you can see it is printing here hello world. The function here can also take the arguments. So to give an argument, simply write the name for the variable, and let me say I want to greet the name, okay, specified by the user whenever the user call the function, and give name. Okay, so this argument is given by the user. Okay, now whenever I call this function, if I can leave the argument, let me say I want to give John. Okay, so what it does is it simply say hello John, as you can see here, right? Now let me show you another function that will print the square of a number. So simply write there, give the function name, let me say it's square here. It will take the argument num and it simply returns num2. So this will return the square of this number. Okay, now if I call this function and give the argument 2, okay, if I want to find the square of 2. Okay, so let me clear out this terminal and see whether it will do something or not. As you can see, it hasn't printed anything here. Why? Because this function is simply returning the value, right? As you can notice, in the previous function it was directly printing something, right? But in this case it is returning the value. So what you have to do is simply wrap up this function called with a print function here. Now as you can see, it is printing 4, right? So there is another function in Python which is called a lambda function. The lambda function is an anonymous function which accepts a number of arguments and only requires the single argument. Okay, it supports only the single, not argument, it supports only the single expression. Okay, give the name. Okay, let me say square and equals to, give the lambda and specify the argument, let me say num, and give the column and simply write the statement that you want to return. You don't have to specify the return keyword here. Okay, this will simply return num into 2, that is the square of this argument. Okay, now simply call this and give the argument, let me say 5, and if I run this, it is not printing anything yet because I haven't wrapped this by a print function, right? But as you can notice here, my link installed in this Visual Studio Code has converted the lambda function into this normal function. Okay, so let me show you this in the Python IDLE. So go ahead and open your Python IDLE in Windows. So here I have opened my Python IDLE. So now let me do the same thing here. Square will be equals to lambda. This is the function name, right? Lambda, specify the argument, let me say x, and write the return statement, that is this. Okay, now if I print the square of, let me say 10, you can see it is printing 100. It is also working as a function, right? So this is pretty much it for the function. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe.